Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. I'm your host Rashida, and today we are making honey garlic glazed salmon with a side of cabbage. Come on in the kitchen, let's get ready to cook. Alright, let's get started with our cabbage. I'm using one whole head of cabbage. I'm using a bell pepper, red pepper, and onions. Very simple. You can use any pepper, any variety of flavors that you like to add, but that's what I'm using today. To my pan, I'll be melting a tablespoon of butter over a medium-high heat. And then also I'm going to add a heaping tablespoon of bacon grease, bacon fat. And usually what I do is when I have some extra bacon, I'll just fry a couple slices of bacon and cut that up and then just use the bacon grease from that. I like to chop up the bacon and just add it to my cabbage. Just adds another layer of flavoring. But today we're just going to omit the bacon. If you don't eat pork, you don't even have to add bacon at all. You can just go with some butter or even some olive oil and you'll be just fine. As long as you add some nice flavoring with your vegetables, your peppers and your onions and the cabbage, you'll be good. Now as the butter and the olive oil melt and combine, we're going to get ready to prepare to add our peppers and our onions first. So I just slice those up real easy, real quick, and they're ready to go into the pan. And I'm going to saute these for probably about 3 or 4 minutes. Not too long at all because I don't want them to get real soft before I add in the cabbage and they're all cooked together. In the past, if I only had a bell pepper and an onion, I have just used the 2 of those. But today I had that red pepper, so I threw that in there, and it just gives it that extra burst of color. And also, if you have a yellow pepper, throw that in too. The more the merrier. That nice color balances off the cabbage. Now we're adding the cabbage to the pan. Now one thing about cabbage is, even though it looks like I'm putting a lot in the pan, which is basically the whole head, it's going to wither down just like any greens, any type of vegetable that wilts. For as much as I'm putting in there, it's going to wither down to probably about half the amount. So that'll be perfect to serve a family of 4 to 6 people. I don't like my cabbage real soft and mushy, so I'm just going to continue to stir it, combine everything, incorporate everything for probably a good 10 minutes. Doesn't take long at all, but it is a lot of continuous stirring, at least for me, because I just like to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom, burn on the bottom, and that it's evenly cooked. So right now I'm adding in my seasonings, and it's real basic. Seasoning salt, a little bit of salt to bring out the natural flavor, and pepper. So very basic on the seasoning. Seasoning salt, and pepper. And then I do add a little secret ingredient down the road. Let's talk cabbage. Who likes cabbage? Everybody doesn't like cabbage. Some people love it. I love cabbage. I love greens. I love vegetables. Cabbage is very good. I don't like mine. Some people like theirs with a vinegar base. I don't put vinegar in my cabbage. I just don't care for that. But people add vinegar, add all kinds of different flavors. Hot sauce. It's whatever meets your palate. So keep watching the video. I'm basically just stirring and it's just softening up to, I like it just a little bit crispy, but yet not crunchy. So just a little crisp bite, but not at all hard and crunchy. Feel free to leave in the comments how you cook your cabbage. Cabbage is pretty easy to make, but everybody has different variations, and it's pretty inexpensive. So it's definitely a great side dish to any Sunday dinner or midweek meal. Here I'm zooming in so you guys can see that nice bright green and white color. You also can see the veggies. You can see the peppers, the onions. They blend in, they camouflage, but they're in there. So basically a few more minutes, about 2 or 3 more minutes, and we're going to be finished. Giving it another stir. This is about the last roll. It's getting almost to that consistency that I like. I can just tell by looking at it. So in a minute, I'll be finished and my cabbage will be ready. And we'll be on to our next dish, which is the honey garlic glazed salmon. Don't blink or you'll miss it. I just added in a teaspoon of sugar. Back in the days, my mother used to put a dab of sugar in the cabbage. I just think that balances out the savory seasoning just a tad. You don't need a lot because cabbage is already naturally sweet, but I did go ahead and add a teaspoon of sugar just to balance out those flavors. Couple more stirs. Look at that. It's almost done. You see how it did wither down to about half that amount. And we're almost good to go. Doesn't that look good? I know it tastes good. Don't go nowhere. I'm giving you a 2-for-1 on this video. After this, we're making honey garlic glazed salmon. It's my first time trying it that way. Love salmon, make it all the time, but this is the first time I'm gonna try it with this glaze. And there you have it. Our cabbage is complete. Now let's roll on to the salmon. In my dish, I have 4 portions, 4 pieces of salmon, or you can make just one big piece. But I have these 4 portions to which I'm adding my seasoning. And I just added cedar plank seasoning and a little bit of garlic, onion powder, and some Old Bay seasoning. So actually I'm just going to add that seasoning to one side, and then when I prepare my pan, I'll add the rest of it to the other side. So we're just giving a good amount of seasoning, not too much, not too heavy, but just enough to coat the one side. Next, I'm going to get ready to heat up my pan, my skillet, and I have a big enough pan that it should fit all 4 portions. I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of butter first. Then I added in a tablespoon of olive oil. Butter and olive oil, or it could be 3 tablespoons of butter, or it could be 3 tablespoons of olive oil, whichever you prefer. I'm just going to combine both. Give it a nice stir. Pan's on about a medium low heat, so I don't want the butter to burn. Next comes 2 tablespoons of garlic, minced garlic, chopped garlic, whatever you have handy. I'm using a chopped garlic today. Usually like to grate it fresh, but this was a little bit faster. So I put in 2 tablespoons of garlic, and I'm gonna just let that mix. Now, if you have ever cooked anything with butter, garlic, that is the best smell. That aroma flowing through the house makes any dish smell like a gourmet meal. Now I'm going to let that cook just for about a minute or 2, just till the garlic gets soft and the butter melts, because the butter is still needing to melt. What's going on with this butter? Now we're about to add in 4 tablespoons of honey. Honey. You want to use 100% honey, no artificial blends. Add in 4 to 5 tablespoons of honey, and then go ahead and mix that in. So that's taking it up a whole nother notch. Honey, garlic, butter, olive oil. That is going to complement the salmon so well. And I'm going to go ahead and just mix that for about another minute. Now time to add in about a half of lemon juice. And I think the lemon juice cuts some of that sweetness and just kind of balances off the flavors. So now we have lemon juice, we have honey, of course, you know, our butter and garlic and olive oil. So that is just a great combination that I know is going to taste good on this salmon, but it will be my first time tasting it this way. Now our sauce is ready. for our fillets, our portions. So I'm just dropping in the salmon, seasoned side down. I'm going to lay those 4 pieces into my pan gently. And then I'm going to take the rest of that seasoning and go ahead and sprinkle it on top. And remember, that was just a cedar plank seasoning I had. Let's see, some Old Bay, some onion powder, and a little bit of granulated garlic. And now we're just going to let these cook about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. It's on a medium heat. We don't want to cook it completely, so it's just a light saute, a light sear on each side for about 2 to 3 minutes. Not to completion, because we're going to finish it up in the oven. Now I'm flipping them over. And you can see there's a slight color change as it cooks. And our sauce is still in the pan. It's just incorporating. It's just meshing, collaborating with the salmon. So our sauce is good. And now we have it on both sides of the salmon. I'm going to take some of that sauce and drizzle it on top of the salmon, but I don't think that spatula is working, so onto the spoon. Take my spoon, drizzle some of that honey glaze on top of the salmon so it can just go ahead and soak in before it goes into the oven. Once the glaze is on the top, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven. Actually, not even preheated. I put it on a low broil. If you just have one setting for your broil, just put it on broil and just keep an eye on it. But I put mine on a low broil. All right. Looks like those are ready to go into the oven. And just like that, they are done after 5 minutes on the low broil or just a regular broil. Maybe about 3 to 4 minutes on regular broil. Took them out the oven. You see the glaze has reduced and the salmons are seared on the top. That piece shows that it is done just right, because one thing you don't want to do, and that is overcook your salmon, because then it'll be dry and tough. So we cooked that to perfection. That pretty much looks like perfection. It's ready to be served. It's ready to be plated next to the cabbage. And that's dinner, y'all. Our honey garlic glazed salmon is complete. Can't wait to taste it. It looks good. I'll let you know how it turns out in the end. Thanks for cooking with me. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time on Let's Get Cooking. Have a blessed, wonderful day.